Hey guys, Deeble here. Today I gotta look at the Tier 3 battleship, USN Battleship Wyoming. It's on Big Race. It's a standard capture the battle or capture the blebs. Hey guys, Deeble here. Today I gotta look at the Wyoming for you. Tier 3 American Battleship. It's got a match on the Big Race, regular capture the base mode game. Now if you noticed there at the beginning we had our old pal George Dewey running the show at the time of this match being recorded. I believe this was actually his final battle as the battleship commander of the T-Bulls USN fleet. So what happened? I was like, my Discord was kind of blowing up when I woke up a couple days ago. People were, saying, "Oh, check out this deal, 10 crates for whatever it was." It was like $15, I think, worth of doubloons. Relatively cheap. I was going to say reasonably, but that's not even remotely accurate. But relatively cheap compared to what they normally go for. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I got just over half the commanders in this game. So if I get 10 crates, and my odds are, well, let's just put them at 60% odds that I'm going to get duplicates, right? So I'd expect if I'm lucky, maybe get 5 new commanders. If I'm average, maybe 4. Unlucky, alright, maybe we'll get 3 new commanders. I can live with that. Open them up, I get 1, of course. Got a couple Togos. Just the regular garbage that you get out of crates. But I did get Lee, who is not my first choice for USN battleships, but he is my second choice, which means Mr. Dewey has been relieved of his command. And he was relieved of the sidearm and escorted from the premises. Let's just put it that way. So we've had a little bit of a falling out, me and Dewey. So taking a look at this match here, generally on Big Race, the left-hand side is just going to go around those southwest islands. The right-hand spawn will go around the eastern islands from the south and then mirrored at the top. So my thinking moving the Wyoming into the center position was to create a lot of crossfires for me. I didn't think a lot of people would be necessarily even noticing me because this is a low tier game, obviously, and a lot of these people are still getting their bearings, and even moderately experienced players tend to focus immediately in front of them. So if you play this match and you have a ship that can reach, I would recommend trying the center spawn at least to open with, or the center position. That way you can kind of cover both flanks here. Now this Omaha, I was worried he was going to go around that island before I could finish him off, but he does beach himself. And Dewey, remarkably, actually, he missed 3 of 4 shells, but he did get one. Now this, I'm not going to blame Dewey for this. I think the Tier 3 and Tier 4 USN battleships are extremely inaccurate. I think they're all pretty inaccurate until the Iowa. But having Dewey, who has no sort of buff to accuracy whatsoever, it compounds the problem. Now I do have a high level Cunningham running the inspiration game on this thing. And of course I only had 1 inspiration on Dewey because I'm not going to pump that guy full of points. But just due to the fact that I had to play so many games with him, I got him at least up to, I think, level 8 or 9. So he had enough for an inspiration. But even having Cunningham on there, I mean, I still find the accuracy on these guns to be fairly abysmal. The Wyoming actually seems slightly more accurate than the New York, in my opinion. I don't know, that's just, I don't like to play either of these ships that much, just because they're not my play style, due to the inaccurate guns. But and there you can see I had shots loaded on that Kuma. I was waiting to see if the Torbs killed him. I had no problem with the teammate potentially getting the kill. In fact, you got to think about when you're playing battleships, you only get a salvo every 30 seconds or so, and you're trying to maximize damage output. So if someone's going to die on the enemy team without you doing anything, generally let that happen. There's no point in just shooting just to get some extra damage, because you're taking your guns out of the fight for a little bit, but guns are back up. We got shot against the Dene. Dene is a juicy target, and he gone. Dene is a very juicy target. It's a lot of fun to shoot at Denes. It's not a lot of fun to get shot at when you're in a Dene. And I never played the PC version, but the research I've done on the British cruisers leads me to believe they're all going to be kind of ships you don't want to get shot at in, but I hope they're not that squishy, because the Dene is not going toe-to-toe with much, you know. So, I mean, I think the British lines in general are the hardest for new players, but that Dene is extremely hard for new players. So now that we've kind of cleared out this flank on the side, we got a minute to evaluate the game. We are up a couple ships, we're up a little bit in points, and things are looking pretty good. My personal, it doesn't look like I've been shot at all yet, so things are going all right. But looking at the position on the map, it looks like my team is pretty clumped up. This isn't a huge map, so it really doesn't take that long to kind of leave the base, but for some reason, I don't know if everyone's been off somewhere else and then they return to the base, or if they're just employing the high tier black hole strategy, where the base kind of acts as this giant black hole and sucks everyone into it. That's possible as well. I really wasn't paying that close attention to this game as I've been watching this replay, but keeping an eye on the map here, you know, I'm trying to deal with my side here, but you can see they do have a destroyer moving in. What you need to constantly, well, first off, I don't think a lot of people understand this, but capture the base mode, you do get points for sitting in the enemy's base. So it's very easy to lose a game just by not eliminating a ship that's in your base right now. I believe he's accruing points as we speak, but you cannot let enemy ships push into your base like that. And by the way, there you can see the Carl bounce a shot from the Wyoming. I mean, I don't ever recommend that cruisers like rely on armor angling when getting shot by battleships, but do angle your armor. I mean, we talk about this a lot for a reason, you know. I don't know how many, you know, it was a Dewey dispersion shot, so it probably only had a couple shells, 2-3 shells hit a ship, but they all bounced because he was nice, steeply angled there, so it does work. Again, you don't want to just sit motionless and count on it, because experienced gunners will find spots on your ship that they can hit, but you know, you can deal with kind of a casually shot incoming salvo like that. But anyway, getting back to that play, now I've been watching this destroyer on the map, and I see that cruiser sitting there. And again, I'm not here to harp on these guys. This is obviously a low tier game. I'm sure most, if not all, of these guys are pretty inexperienced players. So whether that cruiser, well, he's been killed by him now, but maybe he just can't shoot him because he doesn't have the skill or whatever. That's fine. I can't blame him for that. But the point I'm trying to make is, you know, I think low tier, high tier, it's kind of incumbent on you as a player who has the awareness to look at the map and like keep an eye on what's going on with the game. And if you're not there yet, I'm assuming you're watching my videos because you're trying to get better as a player. That's something you need to be working on, just constantly. Map awareness, game awareness, stuff like that. But you almost have to say to yourself, well, nobody's going to do this but me. And you kind of have to play with that assumption. So, you know, a Wyoming's not going to win any races, and it's going to take me a while to get back to base. And when I do get in a range of this frigate, you know, I got Admiral Dewey shooting one of the most inaccurate guns in the game, so not what I want to be doing with my time dealing with this thing, but this thing is causing massive problems in terms of score. And if he's not dealt with, I mean, he can kill ships, he can, you know, potentially cap out, so he has to be dealt with. So I'm turning around to go back. I'd rather be dealing with those battleships that I was kind of starting to deal with toward the north. But again, I really do not enjoy losing games that were up ships. Now you can see, you in the couple minutes I've been talking here, our lead is completely evaporated. You know, we were up 2 ships, now we're down, looks like 2 ships. And the score has flipped around as well, so the low tier, high tier doesn't matter. I mean, I always say to myself when I'm playing, I definitely yell at my TV when I've died and people on my team are still playing. You can't play like you've won the game until you've won the game, you know. It's not over till it's over, so keep playing. Don't ever look at the scoreboard and say, oh, we're up 2 ships. I'm not going to play smart and try and win. I'm going to try and maximize damage or whatever. I see so many mistakes. Sometimes I'll even make a mistake just trying to go for a little bit extra damage or whatever, because you think you have a lead or whatever that's insurmountable, and those leads evaporate all the time very quickly. So, but that's all right. I mean, I'm not that worried about it in this game. I have a lot of health. Now, what I was doing there, watching this replay, that turn took me too long. I needed to do that 30 seconds ago. What I was trying to do was that cruiser, which is just sighted now, I was expecting him to come around sooner, and so I was primarily trying to wait for, I was hoping to one-shot him essentially and then get him off, because to deal with the score we need to kill ships. You know, that's really the only way to do it. But in this situation, all they have to do is sit back. Like, they could all drive to the, or sail to the northwest corner of the map and win the game, right? That's all they have to do. So we both need to be pushing towards their base, not with the intention of capping, because there's not enough time to do it, but because that's where they're going to be, you know, and we're going to be within range. Then, I mean, you can see based on the map, I can shoot half the map. If I get centrally located, I can shoot the majority of the map from that position. So, bit of a mistake on my part. You know, again, I was trying to deal with that cruiser, but that's no excuse. That's just not paying attention to what needed to be done. But there is the Karlsruhe. He's back, and now we're close enough that Dewey can actually hit that shot, and he got one as well. So we got a couple of huge devastating strikes in this one. Did get the Kraken. Pretty decent damage for this ship. You know, we're almost 3 times our base HP at this point in the game. So I always find that's a pretty good gauge for battleships. You know, if you can do your base HP and damage, that's kind of the baseline that you want to shoot for. If you can double it, all right, that's a pretty good game. You start tripling it and above, you know, now you're talking. So that's just kind of an internal gauge for you to, you know, little goalpost to shoot for. But damage is not what we're going for here. We're trying to win the game. Now, ideally, I need to kill that Wyoming for 2 reasons. 1, we need his points. And 2, if he kills my teammates, then we're going to have a major problem dealing with this, because obviously if he kills my teammate, then we go down points and they go up additional points, which is going to make it harder. Now, currently he's behind that island, and I'm trying to get out as many shots as possible as quickly. You just need to be, in these situations where you need damage, you need to get those guns firing pretty much on reload. So I'm holding the shot just a little bit there because he's turning, potentially giving me a juicier shot. Unfortunately, the poor accuracy or the poor aim, whatever it was, I didn't really do much with that salvo. And there the Wyoming pokes around, so that's unfortunate. But had I maybe held on to that shot, we could have finished him off before. Well, yeah, I mean, you can see the accuracy. You can't count on it, but perhaps, I don't know. I'm sitting here, I'm going back and forth, like, should I have waited to shoot that thing or not? I don't know, because again, we need to be getting out all these shells, and especially now that it's 1v1, we're down in points again. So at this point, I have to sink the guy. So had I held on to the salvo for another 15-20 seconds until that Wyoming came in, that would have put me way down on this guy in terms of health. And I'm attempting to turn away here if you're looking at the diagram, wondering why I'm completely broadside. But that happened a little too late. I was kind of equivocating in my mind which way I should go. And I figured I'd have a better chance against this guy angled and moving away from him, but I I made the decision too late, and you can see these shots that at higher tier battleships would likely be sinking him, or perhaps with a commander that can aim a little bit better. But it's just the nature of the low tier battleships. I mean, they're all inaccurate, so it is what it is. You can't complain about it. And really what you should be doing is doing what I'm doing here, is aiming more up. You're not going to miss as many shots. You can get damage from the superstructure, upper hull, and occasionally you'll get the citadel too. So that's how you mitigate the poor accuracy. You just aim more towards the center of the ship. So that was on me for missing those shots. But I hope you did enjoy the look at the Wyoming. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Questions for me, leave them below. And we'll see you later. Alright, peace.